Live from RTV6 Sports, it's time for some Monday afternoon quarterbacking on Horseplay.
And this is what everyone is talking about this afternoon and all day long, for that matter. Colts get the W on the road in that AFC divisional playoff game, 24-13. First road playoff win since 2006. Their third AFC title game appearance in 8 years now. Boom Herron, 95 total yards. Yesterday, 63 rushing yards, of course, a touchdown. Vontae Davis was unbelievable. Off the charts yesterday. Again, Colts get it done, 24-13, and advance to the AFC Championship, where they take on, you know these guys, the New England Patriots, coming up on Sunday. Hey, welcome to week 19 of Horseplay. Here we are in the RTV6 studios talking about next Sunday, yesterday. This is going to be a lot of fun.
It is going to be
fun.
You
know, because...
Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thunk it?
Well, not you two, based on last week's picks.
Did you finally go Colts?
I hesitated.
But what did you ever come out and say?
Well, if you go back,
put your name on it.
Hindsight's always 20/20.
We do an up-close show every week for the Colts. It airs on Saturdays, and on that show, I picked the Colts. My score was 31-27. I thought it'd be a little.
I never saw that.
Well, we're going to pull it up right now on the phone.
Does that actually air on TV somewhere?
It does. That's what they tell me.
That's right. There you go. Jim Sorgi joins us, the former Colts quarterback, friend of Peyton Manning. We talked to Peyton after the game, so we can get to some of that a little bit. And IndyChannel.com's Mike Chappell. Brad Brown's going to be standing by, Skyping in. And Bob Halloran, one of the sports anchors at WCVB in Boston, he'll join us a little bit later in the show as well, as we look ahead to the Patriots. Incredible that we're sitting here talking about this team going to the AFC Championship game.
I just like the way they're approaching things. Again, as long as they play sound run defense, I liked what they do.
Yeah.
And I thought if they could keep C.J. Anderson 85, 90, not let him go bonkers, and then you put your trust in your corners, and that includes Darius Butler, and get some pressure on Manning. And for whatever reason, maybe Jim's got a better idea, but they just were forcing the ball down the field. And I never understood when it wasn't working why you kept it up, but that was a really sound defense approach by the Colts yesterday.
Well, I really like the way our defense is playing. I like the way our defense has played the last 2 months of the season. I mean, the points that they've given up have come, or the points that we've given up as a team have come from our offensive side of the ball most of the time. So when we're not shooting ourselves in the foot, our defense is only giving up 2 touchdowns or less a game. And when you defense can do that, when you got guys stepping up and playing like they did yesterday, I thought DeQuell Jackson played a phenomenal game. Vontae Davis, Jonathan Newsom, Eric Walden on the outside, in the inside. And to answer your question, why Peyton Manning was going down the field, it wasn't so much. We hit him on the first drive of the game when they scored a touchdown. We got the penalty, but we did hit him. And we hit him later on in the game. Then we got the sack fumble. And after that, it wasn't so much we were getting pressure on him, but it was the illusion of pressure. You kind of saw guys kind of getting off blocks a little bit. And, I mean, you could feel that as a quarterback. And he was getting one-on-one across the board, and he just, let's take some shots. But he wasn't waiting for the routes to open up. He was just kind of dropping back and just kind of heaving
Let him run under it or whatever.
Yeah, they couldn't do it. The one time Toller and Emmanuel Sanders' feet got tangled up. A couple times Vontae was just in great position on Demaryius Thomas. One time we had a safety over the top. And it just wasn't the same Denver Bronco team we saw in week 1. I mean, Julius Thomas, he was only in there sparingly. Most of the time they were bringing in an extra offensive lineman and a backup tight end.
Right.
He was playing on passing situations and in the red zone. And Peyton, I mean, it wasn't the same Peyton Manning. I mean, you could tell that C.J. Anderson ran the ball well. He would get a couple runs where he'd get 8, 9 yards, but then we'd shut him down for 3 or 4 runs. And then he'd get 8, 9 yards, and we'd shut him down for 3 or 4 runs. So you're right. Anytime you can play run defense like that, you're going to win some ball games.
Let's talk about Peyton, because the breaking news, if you will, coming out of, it was Adam Schefter from ESPN. He's the one that has reported that, and there's been some others that have now said that's not true.
Right.
But Schefter reporting he has a torn right quad. And you can better explain what that might do to a quarterback and how that might affect his throwing motion or what he can do as a quarterback.
Your right leg for a right-handed quarterback is your push-off leg.
Yeah.
So it would be tough for him, especially not so much on deep throw. So maybe that's why he was going for it, because on deep throw, you just kind of, drop back and let it go. When you got to move around the pocket, stick that back foot in the ground and really let it go on your intermediate passes. You saw him couple to Wes Welk over the middle. It just wasn't there. And that's where it would affect him most, because that's your plant leg, your push-off leg. When you're trying to fire those muscles, fast twitch muscles, and put it in the ground and really get rid of it, it's going to hurt, and it's going to take a little while. And the hits he took, the one was right there around the knee quad area, and then the other one, not the sack fumble, but the other one where we hit him where he got the ball off, he kind of got spun around and into the ground on that leg too. So maybe that was the way we got him off his game early.
How much would that affect the velocity of the ball that he's throwing?
Definitely, as a quarterback, your kind of your ab region to your thighs and your hips are where you get a lot of your power when you put your hips into the throw. It would definitely affect that because he would be throwing more arm, all arm, more upper body at that point. So after hearing that, it kind of explains a lot in my mind why he was the way he was. But then you go back and you think about, they say he suffered it December 14th against San Diego, but they went to this run-style offense
well before that, didn't they?
Well before that, 3 or 4 weeks before that, mostly the second half of the season. So, and he wasn't playing that well up to that point, but his play did decline after that San Diego game.
You know, you hated to see the hit by Art Jones late because they got him off the field. But those things that, you know, I think it had the effect later on. It gets the quarterback
thinking a little bit.
Thinking that, you know, sometimes you see ghosts when they're not there. Now here, the ghost was there.
Yeah.
But when you any quarter, they say, well, the Colts had the blueprint to, you know, pressure the quarterback. That's how it is in every team.
Yeah.
If you can pressure the quarterback, but you get those hits early, and I think the quarterback who's already maybe worrying about his legs, you really start seeing and hearing things that aren't there.
And to be honest with you, we only pressured him really 3 times the entire game. The 3 times we hit him, the sack fumble, and the other 2 times. But you could tell that, I mean, he had one play where he was wide open he got out of the pocket and he had all day to run.
He was on third down.
He could have ran 20 yards.
Yeah, and he threw the ball to Emmanuel Sanders without running the football. So you got to think there.
Right.
I mean,
is that because of the quad, you think?
He's too smart of a quarterback to risk a ball in the air when he knows he can run 10, 15 and get down.
Right.
So,
and we were talking, too, about, you know, Jonathan Newsom. I remember talking to Dwight Freeney and Tarek Glenn one time about if an offensive left tackle plays 60 plays and he's spotless for 58 and you give up 2 sacks, it's a bad game. Dwight Freeney, if you play 60 and you stink for 58, but you have 2 great plays, you win. And that's what you want from your pass rush. Make a couple of plays. You know, go back to when they beat Denver here. One of the big plays was Mathis's blind side that you got the safety. So if you can get that play, the game-switching play, it's huge.
Well, I really thought our outside linebackers, Jonathan Newsom, Eric Walden, were going to have a good game. I mean, Jonathan Newsom, he really stepped up that second half of the season. He's young enough and not quite to know the situation and the levity of it.
Young and stupid.
Yeah, exactly. You just say, hey, go out there and play, boy. Just go out there and do your thing. Yeah. And he did. And that one play, Ryan Clady got caught inside on a guy and couldn't get back out to him, and he made Peyton pay on that hit. And it kind of turned the whole game around. But I agree. You know, that penalty on the first drive was a penalty, gave him a first down. I eventually gave him a score, but it was a hit on Manning.
It's one that it kind of resonated later in the game.
You're thinking Dallas all over again when you see the penalty. Oh, here we go.
Yes.
You know, so.
Well, again, you hate to, and I guess that's what they're calling. He went low at him and all that. But again, you sort of take that and you say, okay, but it's going to help us later on.
Send a message, but
right.
I'll tell you what, LaRon Landry, and this is why the coaches make the big bucks. I'll tell you what, they knew that Julius Thomas was not 100%. We all knew that, but we didn't know the extent of it. To know that LaRon Landry could cover him at the percentage he was healthy. Obviously, the first drive of the game, he caught a big, wheel route on him, and then, when they were in that jumbo package, it took Demaryius Thomas and spread him out on the shift. And when you saw LaRon Landry go out there, you knew what was going to happen. It was over. It was a touchdown. But from that point on, he covered him nicely at the times he was in the game and spread out and did a really nice job. But after that first series, you're like, oh, boy, here we go again.
So let's button up this whole Peyton Manning story. You talked to him after the game, not necessarily about football.
Not about football at all. Me and Bob came down off the elevator, and I ran into him. And, we kind of embraced each other. Hey, how you doing? We'll talk mostly about kids. He's like, I told him we had a new one. Our kids were 9, 7, and 5 months. He's like, oh my God, dude. He's like, we're almost 4. Our twins are almost 4. And I said, it seems like a really great city. Like they, you enjoy being out here. They embraced you. And he said, yeah. He says, just like Indy, it was kind of instantaneous. He says, obviously this one hurts, and that's kind of where we left it. You could tell he was kind of distraught about the game, but really not going to let it.
Right.
He was going home to his wife and kids, and everything was going to be okay. But so, we'll see what happens with him. I don't think he can let his last loss in the NFL career be to the Indianapolis Colts.
I'm hearing people say that's definitely it, but again, knowing the way he is, he won't want that to be his last game.
Right. Give him some time. He'll go on vacation and.
But heal up the leg.
Yeah.
I mean, if that story is true, I think you make a great point. It now makes sense a little bit.
But you have to, at his age, you have to decide, do you want to do again what it takes to get ready to September?
Right.
And if anybody, I think he's probably wired that way. He'll need to get away from it a little bit and let it settle in. But again, I've heard people think, oh, it's for sure he's gone. But I need to see that to believe it. I think he won't want to go out this way.
I think it depends on what happens to the coaching staff. If John Fox is fired,
if Adam Gase is gone,
then does Peyton really want to stick around for that kind of a change? A new coach, a new coordinator, probably a new quarterback's coach.
And there's some shuffling on the offensive line. He did get hit a little bit more this season. Only 17 sacks, though. But when you're 38 years old, those bumps and bruises take a longer time to heal. Right. I mean, if you're talking about a tear, I mean, who knows if it'll ever be the same. So I just can't see him going out with 2 years left on his contract. You know. And
to me, it's not about the money. It's about his.
No.
It's about him.
Right. Yeah, and going out the right way. So I mean, he's still. I can't see him being like a Brett Favre in Green Bay, where he's playing those 2 years
somewhere else
of mediocrity, and then, I mean, Favre had good years in obviously Minnesota, but in a bad year with the Jets. But he had some really bad years at the end of his career in Green Bay. And I can't see Peyton.
He won't hang around just for like records or whatever to get the yardage and all that. He'll need to think he can be a force.
Effective.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Twins are 4 now, coming up on 4.
Yeah, he said almost 4. Yeah.
And this is a little inside story to my life, too. His twins were born the day before our youngest son, Zach, was born. Same hospital. And I'll never forget walking out of the hospital, which will remain nameless because I know Peyton wouldn't want to let people know. I'm walking out of the hospital. Olivia and Ashley are walking into the hospital with 2 car seats. And nobody knew what was going on. I'm thinking, oh, hi. And they look at me like, hi, and I'm like, hi, okay,
just visiting.
Well, they should have expected it, because if you're there in the Mannings, where there was the celebrity hospital, I mean, it's where your celebrities go to have their kids. So
well, I was in the cheap wing. He was in the expensive wing. So.
They probably blocked off the whole floor.
Absolutely, exactly. But anyway, how about that? The Twins.
But I remember that story too. I remember him calling me. We talked about the season and stuff like that, and then like, oh, by the way, me and Ashley had twins. Yeah. I was like, oh, way to hide it from everybody, dude. I mean, even.
Yeah, exactly. Well done there. Yeah. So, but I mean, what do you think? Is this bottom line? Is this his last year?
I say he comes back.
I think he comes back.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're in the minority because you watch the other guys and listen to talk radio. Everybody's saying this is it.
Well, again, you asked him after the game, will you be back next year? And to think a player is going to give you that
answer
right away, and he handled it the right way. He said, hey, well, I'm still processing. And you need, we'll have this with Reggie Wayne, you need to step away, go home for 2 weeks, and like Reggie says, I'll go to his man cave and have some adult beverages, and then let the emotion get away from it, whether it's exhilaration or disappointment.
Does the good outweigh the bad? Right. Did you want to go through, I mean, if it ends up being a loss in the playoffs game, do you want to go through that disappointment and all the questions?
Well, Reggie's going to have surgery on his triceps, so it's a lot to take in.
But you could tell he was kind of battling that, but I just can't see that it being his last game. But again, they have a lot of guys they have to resign too. I mean, I think Julius Thomas is up, Demarius Thomas is up, so Wes Welker's obviously not the same guy he was, and so it'll be interesting to see what they do there.
So all of a sudden, it's a very Colt-like situation the last year when Peyton was here. I mean, there's the cap is the cap.
Yeah. Right.
So how do you manage to bring all these guys back? You know.
And then if you decide, Peyton's not, if he leaves, is Osweiler your guy?
Rock Osweiler, yeah.
Is that what you move on with? So it's, again, we said all along that Denver. Reggie said was accurate on Friday. Let's get this game in the fourth quarter and see how they react. Mm-hmm. The pressure was on Denver. They were all in. This was their year, and it didn't happen.
Well, we'll get back. We'll get to the Colts, but we made some mistakes in that game. We didn't play our best game, and we still kind of dominated the game.
4th and 1 to Julius or C.J. Anderson. Wow.
We had the ball with up 11 and could have put a drive together to really put that game out of reach, and we didn't. It was kind of back and forth there. So obviously we missed a field goal. And then they come down and kick the field goal, right? So it obviously made it closer at halftime. So it was a 6-point swing. So obviously we can clean some things up for the Colts.
Let's go inside the numbers. Again, Brad Brown is standing by on the Skype lines. We're going to get to Brad here in just a few seconds, but do want to pop these up real quick. And, I mean, if someone would have told you the Colts would outrun the Broncos in this game. Surprising. Passing numbers, Luck outdueling Peyton when it comes to that. How about the red zone? Colts were statistically the worst in the NFL, come up 3 of 4 in goal-to-go situations, 2 for 2. That's all huge, especially in the playoffs.
And overcoming penalties. I mean, we had some big penalties
10
that
penalties,
we had to
a franchise
overcome.
record.
I mean, we had first and goal inside the 5, and then we're at the 18, and we end up scoring anyway. We had
it's a false start.
Second
it's a false start.
A holding, yeah.
Boom, hair and hands with the face. It was, and it wasn't all in one. It was, they spread them out.
Right.
So you had to overcome yourselves. Again, and the 2 interceptions, which I realize you can say they were glorified punts.
I still don't like him.
I agree.
Because it did look like there was really nothing there, and he was just kind of throwing it up for grabs.
Right.
And I mean, in the playoffs, you just can't do that. I'd rather see him try to find somebody, get some extra yardage, and punt the football away or just throw it away than do that.
I don't disagree with either one of you on that, but 40% of the time you might get a call.
You could get a
down
call
there, and then you look like a genius.
I felt like the one to Dante Moncrief, it was him and the defender. It looked like a little bit underthrown. It looked like it slipped out of his hands. I thought that might have been a one-on-one jump ball. We might have possibly got. So I didn't have a hard problem with that one.
Right.
It was the one where we rolled out to the right, and they had like 4 defenders over there,
Right.
and we had 2 receivers, and it wasn't going to be a
Right.
good situation. And then you got to worry about the receiver touching the defender and tackling him on the ground, or him returning it, and that can go bad.
I disagree with those who say it's just like a punt. If you got Pat McAfee back there, he's going to out-punt that.
He's been getting you 45, 46 yards on net.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Anyway, Brad Brown standing by on the Skype line. Sorry, Brad, took you way too long to get Brad's.
Another week of Where's Brad?
Where's Brad, everybody?
Monday workout, YMCA bike up downtown.
Oh, he's on a
Working out.
Yeah.
Multitasking.
Wow.
Thanks. Trying a little stationary bike right now. If you recall, we had deep dish pizza, Italian beef, and chicken parm for dinner last night.
We did.
So.
Chicken parm,
Yeah.
You taste so good.
You did taste so good.
So good. The pounds are melting away this morning. That's good.
One ounce at a time. Yeah, here we go.
All right, so you're in agreement. That was pretty darn impressive yesterday, wasn't it?
It was, and we talk a lot about the quarterback matchup and all this, and I hope you guys had a chance. I kind of dialed in here in the middle of the conversation, but the Colts defense, just when they need to come up and get it done, they've been able to figure out how to do that, and it's going to be interesting to see in this game coming up next Sunday if they can get the kind of performance they need against Brady and the Patriots to really get over that next hump. This was kind of one of those hump games, if you think about it, that they needed to get past this next team and past that next team to take the next step. And I think that it's almost that Luck's the given now. Luck's going to have a great game. And Luck's going to do what he did in Sunday's game there to get the offense going. But if the defense can have another good one like that, we're booking flights to Phoenix all of a sudden.
Well, hang on there, son. One game at a time here. One game at a time.
I know.
Hey, let's bring in Andrew's numbers from yesterday. 27 of 43, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, quarterback rating of 76.2. Wasn't sacked last night. 8 passes to Boom. He's starting to check off on
I
a
like
regular
those.
basis.
It gets you 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6. It just makes that 3rd down, if you get there, a lot more manageable.
Yeah, and the completion percentage stays up. Like you said, it allows you to get the ball out of your hands so you can get it to your backs, and you're not sitting there trying to read the defense and go downfield and everything. You don't like something, get it to your back. Let them make somebody miss. You get a first down, or you stay normal down a distance. That's what Peyton used to do. If we had a play call, a passing play, he wasn't checking to a run. He was dropping back and going straight to that check down, whoever it was,
right.
and getting something positive on what could potentially be a bad situation for our offense. And that's what Andrew's starting to do. I think we had 10 completions to the backs, 9 completions to the tight ends.
A couple of Jack Doyle that were sort of the dump offs.
It was beautiful. It's like watching magic in motion, dude. It's as a quarterback, it's a beautiful thing to watch as a quarterback, because sometimes I feel like we were pounding our head against the wall, trying to go down the field, and get big plays, and they will come eventually.
And they did yesterday.
Yes, because you hit those checkdowns, and then those linebackers have to come up and respect that.
They got to respect it, yeah.
And then you hit those in routes over the middle. We hit T.Y. Hill on an in route. Nobody was there. He was able to turn up the field. We hit Kobe Fleener on a seam down the middle of the field, because they had to respect that check down, because if they don't, it will get you enough for a first down, and enough first downs equal touchdowns. That's what we were always told by Tom Moore.
One of the reasons Hilton was so wide open is because Aqib Talib was so bad yesterday.
Oh, man.
The best corner on the field was Fonte Davis.
Oh, by
and
far.
Greg Tiller might have been the second best corner.
Yeah.
Aqib Talib could not cover T.Y. Hill.
No.
He was following him all over the place, and when he was either holding him or getting beat. And when you're having that, I mean, let's.
I mean, that was right out of the gate too.
Out of the gate.
You know, it's not like he's tired.
And I saw him talking to the refs too. He said, "Hey, man, come on, give me something. Let me do something with this guy." It was what it was.
Hey, Brad, how about the touch that Andrew had on several of those passes yesterday?
It's amazing, you know, you can talk about, and I think Jim can attest to this, certain quarterbacks, it's just there's a cerebral game to that, and he talks about being able to check down, being able to see those plays. It's one thing to see a play happening like that, but then to be able to put that ball in. You showed the highlight last night, and you guys might have talked about that pass to Fleener.
Yeah.
There were like 15 defenders standing around Kobe there. Like half the team was standing down the field, and he kind of dropped it right in the middle of that one spot where it needed to go, and Kobe went up and got it. And that was a 30-some-odd yard pickup on a big play. That moved down and turned into some points there. His ability to be able to do that, the couple of the touchdown pass that went to the end zone there, that he just rifles it in there and he hits his spots when he needs to. And it's just so impressive to be able to see him put together kind of that physical aspect of the game of having a touch, but being able to muscle it in there with as still being clearly the smartest guy on the field that mentally operates at a plane that I don't know that we've seen from a quarterback in the longest time.
You know how fit Brad is? He can talk like this and work out at the same time.
Puffing or nothing. I'd be, well, you know, how we do it is.
For the record, I'm only on like level 3 on the bike.
Oh, okay.
Not exactly motivated.
I want to see that there's actually a bike there. I think he's just kind of
He's
standing
like
there.
walking around.
Yeah.
All right.
But you
Well,
know,
all right, there you go.
There we
go.
You're not messing around. All right.
I'll tell you what, though, Brad's exactly right. I mean, Andrew Luck, we got to remember, he's only in his 3rd year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still progressing as a quarterback, but he is learning. He was good before. He learned the checkdowns and all this stuff. He is growing. He is kind of taking that next step, that next level, and he's only getting better. And it is bad news for the other 31 teams in the NFL. Let me tell you,
He's not even near his prime yet.
He was good when he was getting his head beat in, trying to get big plays down the field. He's going to be even better when you're keeping him clean.
And he gets a running attack that's really going to generate something.
Oh yeah. It's going to be – watch out, Patriots. I'm telling you, this is a team in the Patriots that got down by 14 points twice in that game, had the team – Baltimore had a chance to win it at the end.
Right.
And I like what the Patriots did. They took the physicality out of that game, and that's what gave them the chance to win because Baltimore was beating them up. So we got to be physical next week. But if Andrew Luck can play like he's been playing and keep learning and growing as a quarterback, we're a tough team to beat.
But as good as Luck is getting, if you will, the pressure's on the receivers now, you know, and that was a heck of a catch Kobe made on that 3rd down play too.
Yeah. A phenomenal catch.
But again, you're getting it. You know, Hakeem Nicks has a couple of big catches.
Yes.
Moncrief a couple of big. You know, keep in mind what they did yesterday. Reggie had 1 target, and they really didn't look at him very much. So maybe they'll get him involved a little bit more. I don't know.
When you start going your two back, a tight end, or 2 tight end and a back, your receivers are T.Y. Hilton and Dante Moncrief.
Right.
I don't know if anybody really noticed that.
Yep.
I mean,
Because explain that. What are you talking about here?
Well,
with Reggie,
you have your pecking order of receivers. Obviously, T.Y. Hilton's your number 1. Reggie was your number 1 last year. Coming into this season, I think Reggie was still your number 1. T.Y. Hilton has taken over that role of number 1, and Reggie now, when they go to their 2 wide receiver sets, Dante Moncrief has taken over the number 2 role.
Right.
And you see Reggie come in at your 3 wide receiver sets. You see Hakeem come in at times. And so it's kind of interesting because as you do with your receivers, you have progressions on every pass play. You usually put your number 1 at the number 1 progression. Obviously, you put your number 2 at your number 2 progression. Obviously, you throw some tight ends and backs in there. And it just seems like Reggie was only targeted 1 time because now he's down the line.
He's the guy coming off
in the progression.
The bench.
Yes.
And
You're putting T.Y. Hilton as my first read is see if T.Y. Hilton's open. If he's not open, I'm going to number 2, number 3, and so on and so forth.
But sometimes instead of number 3, then you go to your check down or you go to a tight end.
running back or a tight end.
And that's what we were talking about check down. Sometimes Andrew Luck was so worried about going through his progression down the field 1, 2, 3, and then coming to my check down. Now he knows this defense is not conducive to going into those 1 or 2. I'm going straight to my check down because I know if I get him the ball, he can make things happen.
It gets 6 yards of play.
Exactly.
You're doing okay. Brad, what's on tap for you the rest of the afternoon?
I need to get groceries. I have no food at home as we speak, so that's key.
Wait a minute. You didn't listen to the meteorologist? You're supposed to be stocked up on milk and bread by now.
No leftovers
with the weather,
from
man.
last night?
I know, seriously. No, the leftovers got eaten at 12:30 last night.
I wonder what happened to the leftovers. Yeah.
That's how long they lasted. No, clearly I wasn't paying attention to this ice storm. I will say downtown right now is more slushy than it is icy. It's just kind of that gross gray goo that's kind of on everything right now. So Groceries will be on the list, and then probably another movie on another movie Monday here.
Holy
It's kind of the deal. You guys know how
I
it
wanna be
goes. I
Brad
got to go
Brown.
pick
We
something
all
out.
want to be Brad.
I wanna
Brown.
be
Yes,
Brad Brown.
There's no.
I'm a movie
Yeah.
guy. I can go buy some groceries, go to a movie.
See, Sorge? Hey, listen, it's
I'd be in much
hey,
better shape. Look at him. He's in
Yeah,
much better
see?
shape than I am.
Obviously, yeah. Look at him. All right, Brad. Enjoy the afternoon, my friend. Thanks for joining us here on Horseplay.
Thanks, gents. We'll see you.
That's too funny.
Did we mention that he's Mr. Writer over the Year over here?
I tried to pimp him on it last night, and he
No?
downplays it. You can try all you want, but he's very modest
said
about this thing.
congratulations. I mean, he said if it came with a check, he'd be a little bit better. But I'm sure, do you get a plaque or something? I mean,
I
that's
don't know.
pretty big.
There'll be a ceremony in June in North Carolina, so it's a cool
Do you
thing.
get a
That is
dinner
a
out of
cool
it at
thing.
least, or
A
something?
couple of dinners.
Hey,
Wife gets to go.
Congratulations. Well deserved.
Thank you very much.
That's
Well
very
deserved.
cool. How long
Appreciate
you been? I mean, I think you kid about it on your Twitter site. You've been covering the Colts since they came over on the Mayflower,
Yeah,
literally.
but not that Mayflower.
Not that Mayflower.
Right, yeah, I've been covering them since '84 in some form or fashion, and it's kind of cool. Seen a lot of good,
It is cool.
a lot of bad.
A lot of bad.
First
Still
bad,
enjoy
now
it.
good.
Yeah, right.
But this is fun, though. I mean, obviously we're all supposed to, not you, obviously, remain impartial on all this. But when you got a team that's making a run, it's just fun to watch in front of your eyes how it all
Right.
plays out like this.
You know, I do the radio for the Colts. Obviously, I'm partial to the Colts. I play
Sure.
for the Colts. But when it comes to games, I mean, I try to be as, down the line as
middle.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did think the Colts had we talked about it last week. There was something not right in Denver. We could all feel it. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of people based their picks on the running game and Peyton, but we said if it was a balanced offensive attack, yes, there would be something to worry about. But they were just running the football. Peyton wasn't having the numbers, so you knew something could happen there if things went right. You knew you could lose if things went wrong, obviously. And I think this weekend's kind of the same thing with New England. I don't think they're playing as good as they were first time we saw them. We're obviously playing better, and there's some things we could take advantage of because, hopefully, we'll have those trick plays down so New England can't run those against us.
And again, the perception is that this team's got a bad run defense. And I don't think it does.
No.
To take Jonas Gray out of the mix, and this run defense has been pretty good.
Well, getting Art Jones back
No question.
has really done wonders for the. And some people have said it was really going to help. I was kind of skeptical, to be honest with you, but he really does a nice job in that run game. And if he's not making the play, he's running down plays. This is a guy that's got a motor from sideline to sideline. And when you put him in the middle with a Chapman and a Corey Redding, and they get them push, and you get those guys on the outside coming, it's a good defense.
It's funny you mentioned Art Jones. Something I'm going to write about today as I talked to his mom, Camille, because we're going to have brother and brother.
Yeah,
Chandler
that's
Jones. I think it's the second time that they've met.
Yep.
And she said it's win-win. She said, I know that I will be at the Super Bowl, one way or the other. But it's a great family.
It's also win-lose, though.
Well, that's true. I think she wants that 0-0 tie or something so that both defensive players play well. But it's an interesting subplot where you got Art and Chandler
sure.
Jones playing. Yep.
She doesn't have one of those split jerseys, does she?
I hope not. I hope not.
That'd be pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it's good to well, it's like Archie.
Were they tearing
Yeah.
that jersey? Were they tearing those jerseys apart last night? The orange and the blue Peyton jerseys.
Right down the seam, baby. Right down the seam.
What was that one that
Well, yeah, it was like a Luck jersey, but had 18 on it.
Broncos?
Oh, the Broncos. Yeah, T-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one,
There
actually.
you go. Here's what's next. Yes, another meeting with the New England Patriots. If it's the Colts in the AFC Championship game, sooner or later it's got to be the Patriots, right? And here are the guys that are leading the way for New England. Tom Brady, the ageless one, 9th in passing this season, 4,100 yards, 33 touchdowns, 9 picks. Jonas Gray actually leads the rushing attack, although he didn't play Saturday. Has played sparingly
Got
since
half of his yards in the one
he
game.
had 201 against the Colts. He has 412 this season. And there's that guy, Rob Gronkowski, which the Colts are going to have to deal with
They have to
on
handle him,
Sunday.
yeah.
Big time. Defensively, real quickly, Jamie Collins has been a stud for the Patriots. Team high, 115 tackles, 4 sacks, 2 picks. Rob Ninkovich, former Purdue star, 8 sacks this season. Team high, 16 quarterback hits. And the aforementioned Chandler Jones, Art Jones' younger brother, 6 sacks, 11 quarterback hits as well. Colts have their work cut out for them here, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They have their hands full, and obviously going into Foxborough is not an easy place to play.
Right.
It's not an easy place to call a game from the radio because the fans are right there, and trust me, these fans are not the nicest fans in the world.
There's no telling you from Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're going to have our hands full. Obviously, they got Tom Brady, Edelman, LaFell, Gronkowski. The running game, they're using that other tight end, Humana.
Good luck with that
You want
one.
to help me with that one?
You better figure this out by Sunday when you're going to have to say it on the
Use
radio.
his number.
Humana Nui or something. Yeah, number 49 or 44. But the defense their defense is playing well.
Yeah.
But they did give up 31 points to the Baltimore Ravens, so we'll see what we can do.
We have someone that can pronounce his last name. Bob Halloran from the ABC affiliate in Boston, Massachusetts, WCVB, once again joins us. Great to have you back, Bob. How do you pronounce the last name again?
That is Manawanui.
There you go.
You can say the part real fast, but it makes it easier for me to go with the Manawanui. Or he just goes by Who Man. It's a lot easier.
There you go.
Perfect.
Man. There you
That's
go.
what I needed. Thanks, Bob.
It's a
Who
cousin
man.
of Who Dat.
Yeah, who dat? Who man? Who
Taking
dat?
the easy way out. Hey, Bob, great to have you once again. I tell you what, you guys, when I say you guys, the Patriots, came very close to not hosting a game on Sunday, didn't they?
Yeah, I think, a lot of fans were overconfident heading into that game, and other fans were recognizing that Baltimore, this is the fourth time they faced the Patriots in the playoffs since 2009, and they won 2 and lost 1 that they should have won. So it was, a tough matchup for the Patriots, and the game turned out to be unpredictable. As high scoring as it was, I think most people would have expected to be a little less than that. But that's a tough matchup for the Patriots, and, as a guy who covers the team and watches everything they do, I would say I was disappointed in their performance overall, because it turned out that instead of being more talented and tougher than Baltimore, they were just smarter than Baltimore, and they had to resort to desperate, tricky measures in order to pull that game out. But they did show the mental toughness to come back from 14 down twice. So I think for their sake, they got past that one, and now I do believe they have a better matchup against the Colts.
Hey, Bob, looking at the game against the Baltimore Ravens, obviously I agree with you. New England was just a smarter team. The coaching staff did a great job with adjustments, and that's how they won that game. Now, they had the week off, but they did struggle a little bit at the end of the season, too. Are they playing well right now? Would you say they're playing well as they did when they were playing us the first time, or are they kind of on a downward swing?
I think that's an excellent question. My impression was that I was concerned that they peaked too early. They had the 7-game winning streak where they were scoring 40 points on everybody, and then they struggled and lost at Green Bay. They didn't do that well against San Diego. They struggled for a half against Miami. They really struggled offensively against the Jets. Then ultimately, they didn't even put their best foot forward in the final game of the season against the Bills. So it had been a good 5 weeks before we saw the very best of the Patriots. Now, against a pretty good Ravens defense, they put up 35 points. So I think their offense still has the capability of, scoring between 35 and 40 points and finding different ways of getting it done. And I do think, having the success against the Colts the last 2 times they met them, my concern for the Colts would be, are you going to be able to stop the run? Twice now, last year's playoff game,
right.
This year's regular season game, 4 rushing touchdowns from, a mediocre running back and over 200 yards. If the Colts can find an answer for that, we'll see a different kind of a game, and I think they'd have a better chance. But if they don't have an answer for that by this time, then I think the Patriots just literally run over them again.
Yeah.
That's what I think. One thing we've seen with Belichick over the years is, if you think you're going to get something, you may get something else. And I think it'd be kind of crazy to say, well, we've run the ball so well against them, let's see what we do passing. So maybe they try to come out and see if the running game is going to be there. Yeah. But there have been times in the past where we thought they're going to run it. He comes out and spreads the field, and then you're just totally caught off guard. But I would be shocked if they don't at least see if they can run the ball and control the game by that.
I think if you're the Colts, I think you go into this the same game plan you did with the Broncos. See if you can stop the run and see if you can,
Make Brady beat you.
As nuts as that sounds, see if Brady can beat you.
Yeah, I thought that for the Patriots, some of the concerns I saw was that the Colts defense was able to do certain things against a very good Bronco offense. And that's something that I think if they were able to shut down Wes Welker the way they did, then maybe there's concern that they can shut down Julian Edelman the way they did. If they can shut down the Bronco running attack, maybe they can shut down the Patriot running attack. But the Patriots so far this year have shown an ability to find another team's weakness and use that player or that philosophy against them. And so if you can stop Edelman, can you stop Gronkowski? If you can stop the two of them, can you stop LaFell? If you're doing all that stuff, can you stop LeGarrette Blount, or if Jonas Gray comes back? There's an awful lot going on within the Patriots offense, and I don't know, you guys have a better idea of the Colts defense overall and what they can do, but I was impressed by their corners yesterday and some of the things they could do against the Broncos in Denver. So if this is a much improved Colt defense than the first time they faced the Patriots, I'm looking for a great game.
Yeah, I think, again, if they get away from the running game, it's how are they going to handle Gronkowski? Is it going to be Jarrell Freeman? Is it going to be a safety? How are you going to handle that? And if they can slow him down a little bit, because we talked, Julius Thomas wasn't 100%. How do they handle him?
Well, I mean, the question I have, they did a pretty good job stopping our offense too the first time we played them. It'll be interesting to see if they get back after Andrew Luck, if their secondary can stay with our wide receivers. Obviously, we're doing things a little bit different that way. Bob, do you think that the defense is I mean, they gave up 31 points to Baltimore now. I mean, I'm not going to say we're bringing more weapons to New England than Baltimore, but do you see them having a little bit tougher time defending the Colts than they did the Ravens, or kind of the same?
It's definitely something I think the Patriots and their fans have to be concerned about, to give up 31 points and to see Flacco move the Ravens down the field as easily as he did on so many different drives, long sustained drives, third down pickups and conversions. And I thought the Patriot defense was going to be the difference maker heading into the playoffs this year. The complaint around here about the Patriots in the past is that the offense was all world, but defensively they couldn't come up with a stop, either in the Super Bowl or in AFC Championship games in the past, when they needed to come up with a stop. And at least against Baltimore, while they were giving up all those points, they did come up with an important stop late in the game to force a field goal. And then, of course, they did come up with an important stop at the end of the game with the interception. And so that seemed to be where the Patriot defense was going to have some answers this year. But 31 against Baltimore is a concern when you're going up against Andrew Luck and the Colts. And if the Patriot defense gives up another 30-plus points, then who has the ball last might be the answer to who wins this game.
Yeah.
I think that is a legitimate concern for the Patriots, is that if that defense isn't as improved as it's supposed to be.
When I hear Julian Edelman's name, all I can think about right now is the fact that the play Saturday night where he fumbled the ball and 4 Ravens were sitting right there, and somehow Edelman still came up with it to keep the possession alive. I'm still trying to figure out how that happened, Bob.
Yeah, the Patriots have been really, really good over the past 14 years, but they have had their share of fortunate bounces. I always remember when Brady threw an interception, and it was intended for Troy Brown, and he knocked the ball out of the defender's hands after the defender started to run it back. It wasn't like instantaneous. The guy catches it, starts running, goes 5 yards, and Troy Brown knocks it out of his hand and recovers the ball. Brady gets strip sacked, and the ball bounces like a basketball right up into his hands. Those types of things have happened. The Patriots are opportunistic, and they take advantage of those. But I have seen more good luck with the Patriots than bad luck and bad bounces. But I will say, when you mentioned Edelman, I thought you were going to talk about the pass play.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
And I immediately tweeted that watching from the game from the press box, that I've been waiting like 5 years for that play. I don't understand why the former quarterback hasn't thrown a pass before that. But now they've got it, out of the bag of tricks, and so who knows, they'd be able to pull it off again against a more experienced secondary. But it looked like he still had it.
Bob, quick question about this rivalry between the Colts and the Patriots. From Indianapolis' side, everyone in town hates the Patriots. Okay?
Yes.
So from Boston's side of things, who was the big rival? I mean, is it the Colts or is it the Ravens, someone in the division? What's this week going to play out like, do you think?
Well, it's interesting because I recognize the rivalry with the Colts, but it was really Brady Manning. Manning could have been anywhere as far as Patriots fans were concerned. It really wasn't the Colts per se.
Right.
And they went to Denver and it became that. So I think it's interesting that it's the Colts again, but I don't know that the rivalry is as intense or strong as it currently had been with the Jets, with Rex Ryan. And the Jets were pretty good for a couple of the years and battled the Patriots tough, knocked them out of the playoffs one year. But I would say that if the Patriots had a most fierce rival, it had been the Jets. Now Ryan's gone probably to Buffalo, I guess. And so I don't know. When you're winning the division as easily as they do year after year, it's tough to say they've got any one rival. But as far as playoff football is concerned, it's definitely Baltimore at this moment.
Imagine the Patriots in the AFC South. They might go undefeated.
Sure.
Sure.
Well, their division's pretty weak as it is, though. I mean, it's one thing. It's a shame that nobody in their division has really been able to stand up. I mean, you guys can look up the numbers. I'll get it slightly wrong, but I saw it not too long ago that in the 14 years that it's been Belichick and Brady, 15 if you count as rookie season when he didn't play, but Baltimore has had, 7 head coaches, and Miami has had like 12 quarterbacks, and the Jets have gone all over the place. I mean, the consistency of the two most important positions on a team, head coach and quarterback, has really helped them, and the other teams seem to have been in such disarray all that period of time that it's been kind of a cakewalk to go through the division 5-1, 6-0 every year, and then you're on your way to 10 and 12 wins. It's been fairly easy for the Patriots.
Well, the good news is Bill Belichick's got Rex Ryan to make fun of for another 5 years or so, right? Now that he's going to the Bills, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I think we're all looking forward to that.
The Bills had a
in the division.
Really good team this year. I mean, if they had a quarterback
defensively,
this
they got
year,
a team.
They would have been a really good team. So, Rex Ryan, I think, is definitely going to a better situation.
Yeah, but he's going to a team from a team that had a decent defense with no quarterback to a team with a real good defense and no quarterback.
But still, he's got better playmakers in Buffalo on offense than he had in New York. So if he can find a quarterback, I mean, but that's the
Mark Sanchez
conundrum everybody has.
Bring it back, Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez.
Hey, Bob, thanks so much for joining us on the phone lines. Look forward to a big week. I know we can look forward to a very energetic, very interesting Bill Belichick throughout the course of the week in his weekly news conferences, right?
Well, it is what it is, as he likes to say. But I guarantee you he's going to say wonderful things about the Colts. They're real strong in all 3 phases of the game. They're well coached. We're going to hear all that stuff, too. So, but he'll say it in a monotone voice.
You sound like a man who has heard that for years in Foxborough.
Every single week.
There you go. Thanks a lot, Bob. Thanks, Bob. Let us know if we can help you out, and we'll be heading out your way later on this week. Look forward to working with you guys once again. Bob Halloran from the ABC station out in Boston, WCVB. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Just like last week, I give the Colts a puncher's chance.
I think this is a game, maybe more so than Denver. Handle the first quarter. Don't let the moment and the crowd and if something goes bad, don't let it overwhelm you. I don't think these guys will, but games can get away from you. You can lose the game early, and you get behind, 17-3 or whatever. It's going to be tough, but just handle the moment, handle the storm, and then play your game.
I'll tell you what. You look at this. New England's beat us running the football in the first game. Tom Brady had a dismal first half, if you remember. He had
the one bad throw he had where.
He had a better, to Gronkowski, the real short throw ended up being an interception. Real dismal first half. The second half he played much better, but it was because we had 2 sell out, 2 stop to run.
Right.
I think with our Jones back, with the way Jarrell Freeman and DeQuell Jackson are playing right now, the rest of those guys up front, I think we will do a much better job of stopping their run. And obviously we have the best secondary, obviously the best corners in the league. The one problem area is Rob Gronkowski. We did a real good job. They didn't even target him too many times in the first time we played.
I thought the first game this season he was wide open, and Brady didn't even look at him.
Right. So this is going to be definitely a different game. You go to the other side of the ball. I think how we're playing now on offense, going to those checkdowns. Baltimore had the same game plan. They hit the tight end a lot over the middle. They just went to the well too often.
Got greedy at the end.
They got greedy at the end, trying to hit that tight end. And the New England Patriots were cutting it with the safety. If they try to do that with us, Andrew Luck is a smart enough quarterback to hit those routes in behind them. Those posts, those seams, those ends, and it'll be a different situation on offense too. So I think we can definitely put up right around the 28 to 35, 38 point mark and win this game for sure.
At the risk of what happened last week, do we dare predict what's going to happen Sunday?
Do we erase this tape if it were wrong?
Well, sure, we can do anything.
I think the Colts will play well and fall short again.
Here we go again.
I know. Well, at least I'll put my name. I'm not going to say,
Well, I'm picking the Colts this week. There you go.
I'll pick New England, but again, 31-28 type of thing. I think it'll be a good game. But again, on the road at New England, I'm not quite there yet.
I think it's all about Gronkowski.
I do too.
I do too. If they can do what they did to Rob, or if Brady doesn't even look at Gronkowski like he did earlier this season, I like the Colts.
Yeah. I think there's.
So I'm the hater.
I like the Colts. I do. I think we're going to the Super Bowl. I think the corners are going to take care of the receivers. I don't think the receivers are up to the standards of our corners, or up to the level of play, I should say. And then you go inside to their backs and tight ends. I think we got to do a good job, have a good game plan with our safeties and our linebackers on how we're going to take care of that. But I think you're going to come after Brady, you're going to hit him, and you're going to stop that run. And we put up points. We've done it all year.
Right.
So I like the Colts.
Going to be a very interesting week. We'll have coverage, of course, right here on RTV6, the IndyChannel.com, with the great Mike Chappell, Sports Writer of the Year.
Yes.
It doesn't get any better than that. I mean, I don't even know why you're going to any other website right now. You got the Sports Writer of the Year right here on the IndyChannel.com. Great to have Jim Sorgi as well. We'll see you in Boston.
Yes.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you back here next week, hopefully talking about a trip to the Super Bowl. Just let that sink in for a second. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you back here next week on Colts Horseplay.